Dragon Ball panel?
What?
Yes.
Oh, that's really good for
And then his power level goes down and he steals the body. Yeah. Except I think it went up when he stole Bulma's. That's just because I think he knew more martial arts and energy stuff.
Frog style, pretty strong.
Yes. Shoot, last time we see that frog, I want to say it's in Logan Saga. I think that's the last time we see Captain Ginyu. Although he does appear in Fusion, not Fusion Reborn. Was it Fusion Reborn? What's the one where they all come back to life? All the villains. Is that Fusion Reborn?
It's like Fusion. It's one where they fusion like a fat dude.
Yeah, okay. Fusion Reborn, Captain Ginyu actually comes back in his body, and then when you see him in the afterlife, he's in the Captain Ginyu body. So it leads you to believe that that is actually his original body. Even though in one of the manga it says he stole his original body. So.
Now everybody's here for the Dragon Ball panel, right?
Yes.
You know we're not actually going to play like Dragon Ball episodes.
Okay, we ran into this problem earlier where we weren't actually going to show any episodes. We're just going to talk about Dragon Ball. All right.
I'm just playing.
Okay.
You got me?
All right. If we had done that earlier, we would have saved ourselves a lot of time. Because people showed up.
Well, I still did the panel. I don't know what time. What time would save me? Save them time.
Because they put just Record of Lotus War on the schedule. They didn't put Record of Lotus War panel. So people showed up thinking they were going to watch it and not discuss it. So it was a lot of just Josh up there talking to himself. So.
No, I was talking at people.
Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way to talk to people.
How's everybody enjoying Gencon? Is having a good time? Yeah. Day one. Yeah. Anybody play any cool games? Anybody play Dragon Ball out there? No. Not yet. It's Thursday. Okay.
In their defense, I have not played a single game of Dragon Ball.
That's true. I haven't played a
I'm not a single game of anything except anything games. Which we do have a drinking games panel on at 11 o'clock on Saturday. We have a drinking games panel.
AM.
PM.
AM would be awesome. AM would be awesome. That's a good idea.
Here's the best part. It's 11 to question mark.
And it's BYOB.
It is BYOB.
I can make that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. For those of you who don't know who we are, we run a website dedicated to the classic score entertainment Dragon Ball Z card game. We are just super fans of Dragon Ball Z in general, and every other year or so, we come here and we do a panel where we just talk about Dragon Ball Z, and all that stuff. And this is a big year for Dragon Ball Z. There's a new movie out in Japan. I don't know if anybody's managed to bootleg it or not.
Bootleg it? What?
Bootleg. We don't do that. We don't bootleg.
Yeah.
Battle of the Gods. Apparently it's about, I don't know, this god shows up and
A very marketing and kid-friendly villain shows up.
Yeah, he looks like a giant rabbit, shows up. Majin Buu won't share his pudding with him, so he decides he wants to destroy Earth.
It's not the first rabbit that goes this far.
That is true, it's not the first rabbit Goku stuff. This one didn't put anybody in Playboy
rabbits,
so, yeah. They didn't banish this one to the moon either.
It might be, because he's not a fan of the moon, because what turned him into a monster and then made him kill him.
That's true, I don't think
Well, it depends if you follow
blown up a lot.
GT, because GT implies that it's something called Bloods energy.
Yeah.
No one balls.
Luckily, that movie actually kind of invalidates GT. So we're back to our very questionable Dragon Ball Z, which we love.
Yeah. All right. So I'm sure everybody knows what Dragon Ball Z is if they're here. We don't have to go into like it's about this guy called Goku who powers up and fights other dudes. And it's not just about there's Vegeta, Piccolo, a lot of other people in it.
It's not about Goku. It's about the journey. It's about the adventure because it's based, of course, on Journey of the West. Please do not think that this panel is just Dragon Ball Z. We're covering Dragon Ball. We'll cover GT if you want to talk about GT. You should feel bad though to talk about GT. We'll cover the movies. We're super fans. We're here to talk about everything. Both me, Garrett, and myself, we worked on the Dragon Ball Z card game, and then both of us have done work for Funimation. Garrett worked on some of the conventions, and I was actually a manager of the marketing department. So both of us have gotten full hands-on experience with the Dragon Ball.
Very well versed with it. Yeah. Well, let's kick into here. We can't talk about Dragon Ball Z or anything like that without talking about the guy who created it, Mr. Akira Toriyama. That guy is the man when it comes to manga. I mean, Dragon Ball at this point is been a phenomenon anywhere it's gone. I can't think of any country that Dragon Ball Z's gone to and not been successful. It's sold about 230 million copies of the manga worldwide.
Almost half the hits we get on our website come from outside of America
Yeah.
too. We have a huge amount of hits from South America, from the Middle East even.
Australia, India.
Australia, huge amounts.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a phenomenon. And he's done other things other than answer the question.
Yeah, what's your site called?
Okay, that's www. We have two addresses. They both go to the
We'll
same
give you the
place.
important one. It's justsaying.com.
Like super Saiyan.
Got it.
Got it, yeah.
You got it?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God, someone finally got it.
Yeah, no, yeah. No, it's funny.
What are you saying?
It's funny because when I registered that through GoDaddy, they called me back asking about it. And the guy on the other line was like, did you mean you were like just Saiyan or like just Super Saiyan? And I was like, no, it's supposed to be like Super Saiyan. He's like, that's amazing. Why didn't I think about that? And I was like, it's too obvious. Like, I can't believe it was sitting out
We were
there.
actually listening to a podcast, what was it, the Anime Addicts? Or?
Yeah, yeah.
Anime Addicts were talking about it, and someone was like, just Saying would be an awesome panel, or name of a website to have. We should register it. And they actually looked it up during their podcast and found us, and they're like, some guys with a game have it.
I know, yeah. Then I went into Hot Topic the other day and they have like a Dragon Ball Z search that says just Saiyan. And I was like, man, I wonder if they need a website. Yeah. And I know, yeah, it's like a Dragon Ball meme.
I know, it's awesome. I'll be in a bar and people will be like, I'm just saying. And I was like, that's the name of my website. I trademarked it.
But,
Wow.
but
Yeah. Pay up shots all around.
So, everybody watched Dragon Ball, right? Okay, cool. Because one of the other things that Hirotayama did was he did this other thing called Dr. Slump, which in America is not necessarily that well known. People know it because it was in Shonen Jump, and they pretty much got to a point later on where they were putting anything in Hirotayama in Shonen Jump in America. So they ran.
And then there is a part where they go to Penguin Village.
Yeah, that's
Dragon
where I was
Ball.
going. In Dragon Ball, they actually go to Penguin Village, which was like the whole world from the Dr. Slump universe. And he meets with a lot of characters and whatnot and interacts with it. Like, it's kind of lost in the American audience because we didn't grow up in the early 80s with Dr. Slump. That was like a big children's cartoon over there. So, like, it's pretty, I don't know, like, unless you know about it, it's cool. Like, I just want to pique everybody's interest on it. Like, go back, watch Dragon Ball, watch the Penguin Village episodes, and there's like all these characters that are there, and they have all this dialogue and stuff, and they seem like established characters, and they give them no back history. Like, you don't learn anything about it from watching the Dragon Ball show, but they all have this established back history from a previous show and manga they did.
And Akira Toriyama is like notorious for reusing some character designs. You'll know this if you play like Dragon Warrior games. You'll often see like very familiar characters in other works of his, like in Dr. Slump. I want to say Deborah from Dragon Ball Z. He is actually like the father of the main character in Sandland.
Yeah.
And they kind of wink and nod and say, oh yeah, it's the same Deborah, even though they don't say it by name.
Yeah.
But it is one of the things that he does is you could actually read a lot of different Akira Toriyama novels. Even if you play like Dragon Quest 8, you can play as Trunks.
Pretty
He's
much,
a
yeah.
prince with a fire
Or
sword.
like
It's
anybody
pretty
played
awesome.
Chrono Trigger, he did all the character designs on Chrono Trigger. They pretty much all just look like the background characters from Dragon Ball Z. The guy has a stick and he knows what to do with it, so crazy.
If it ain't broke, don't fix
And
it.
he's not broke because he's got that philosophy down.
What's that again, Dr.
Dr. Slump.
Dr. Slumps?
It's not even really about Dr. Slump, like he's in it. It's more like the whole surrounding universe and whatnot. Like the girl, Ray, yeah. I'm really bad with names. So it's mainly about her. So yeah, we had a PowerPoint presentation that had like Dr. Slump and stuff on it, but we had some technical difficulties and
You can't show me it.
we wouldn't cooperate today.
Just do off TV.
It was pretty awesome. We were just going to start off by showing the opening intro to Dragon Ball Z, the Japanese one, and we were going to do like the full like
Cha-la!
Yeah.
Cha-la!
Yeah, see, this is like karaoke and stuff, but Karma was not on our side today, so.
Oh, well, now
It's
we're
all right.
all disappointed and sad.
I know.
I don't know all the words to Enchilada, but I do know all the words to Rock the Dragon.
We should Rock the Dragon. You guys like Rock the Dragon?
I
No,
know.
Grand Tour? Step to the Grand Tour? Oh, man.
Oh man, Funimation was so proud of themselves when they hired a local band to do that.
Which was one of the Dragon Ball movies they put out had like Drowning Pool?
It was actually History of Trunks.
History, is that the one that History of Trunks?
History
Had, like,
of Trunks, they put like a bunch of random music in it, like Drowning Pool.
Disturbed.
And the backlash was so big on
Yeah,
that.
Force Slug had it in.
They were like,
They actually had to have a release of it that had the original Japanese music. Like they cut out I Love Mr. Piccolo in, I don't think it was the Garlic Jr. movie, I think it was the movie after that, World's Strongest.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
video is
they
really weird.
they
though.
just cut out this whole Gohan song where it's just like, I love Mr. Piccolo, and he just sings about his love for Piccolo. If you watch the English version of it, he doesn't sing or anything. They just play kind of the tune to it, and it's like a very weird segment.
Well, then what if you would have translated differently from English?
I'm sure it would have, but at least they could have put the original Japanese in instead of just the weird stuff. You know, some of the translation stuff is kind of weird in Funimation. Like when I was working there, we were working on Kai, and one of the arguments with Kai was, obviously the most famous line from Dragon Ball Z is, "My gentleman with the scouter, can you do that line for me?"
It's over 9,000.
What, 9,000? In the manga, it is actually over 8,000. It was a mistranslation. And so there was a whole argument in the office over whether they should keep the line the same, keep it as it's over 9,000, aka the most popular line, or just change it for no reason back to 8,000, the original line. Even though it really doesn't have much bearing on the story, and their power level, I think it goes like 18 or 1900? Or 19,000 at the end of the battle. So really it's kind of just a throwaway line. And there was this huge internal argument over whether we should change it or keep it. I was always of the mind of we should keep it at over 9,000. That's what everybody knows. Eventually it was decided that we should educate the fans about how it really is, and if you watch Kai, it is now over 8,000. And they actually printed out a bunch of these shirts that said it's over 8,000. It said Dragon Ball Kai on the front, and on the back it'd say it's over 8,000.
Yeah.
I've stopped wearing that shirt because every time I wear that shirt, it never fails to get like, bro, your shirt, it's over 9,000.
Yeah. That's why I don't want to
Yeah, so that was kind of a misstep on Funimation's part, I believe.
I don't know. When it comes to Dragon Ball, you don't educate the fans. Fans are going to educate you on
Yeah,
that show.
fans will educate you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You don't change pop culture. You don't change a meme and then tell everybody, oh yeah, this is the more interesting story. It's like, no.
It's kind of a little bit dictatorship if you think about it. It's like, let it go flow as it is, and if it dies off, let it die.
If you have something that's popular, why would you change that? And that was my argument. And again, yeah, I don't wear that shirt anymore just because I'm so sick of people being like, it's over 9,000. I don't want to be like, well, actually, in the original manga, yeah, it just, like, despite the awesome hat, I'm not much of a hipster, so I don't like to be like,
We should film a video and you just go, here you go, guys. Go to this
the
website.
Dragon Ball Z hipster.
Yeah. That's a hipster minute.
I was watching
I don't like hipsters.
Don't worry, I was actually watching Dragon Ball Z when it was cool.
I watched it when it was on Cartoon Network. in the 90s.
Yeah, when it got stuck at Trunk Saga.
Yeah. I watched Frieza and Trunks Saga about 10 times. Yeah.
Yeah, the planet exploded.
I
Like,
saw
I
it
would have
on
friends come up to me,
VHS. Yes.
and they would be like, yeah, it goes on from that. Like, what happens? Like, Goku dies. Hell, he gets heart disease. And I would be like, what? That's the stupidest shit I ever heard.
I watched it on my VHS tapes when they came with like the little Dragon Ball Z promo cards. It was awesome because like that was the worst packaging ever. So we just go and the card's still in there. Put it back on the shelf.
My first job was at Target, and we wouldn't carry the uncut Dragon Ball Z, so whenever they would have the new Dragon Ball Z come in, I would just keep buying the cut version. Where, you know, Mr. Satan was Hercule, and they lived in Hercule City.
That's true. That's the same.
Yeah, and Bulma never smoked, ever. And like, they like edited all that out. But the
Did they
important
cut
thing
like a
is,
whole episode out of Frieza Saga where Krillin gets like run through by Frieza's
they didn't cut the whole episode. They cut a whole episode in, they cut a few episodes actually in Saiyan Saga where Gohan meets a robot and they become the best of friends. Spoiler alert, the robot eventually dies.
No.
Yeah.
All good things in the Dragon Ball Z
And
die.
because Super Saiyan hadn't been invented yet, Gohan does not go Super Saiyan. He waits till another robot dies to become Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan 2, I guess. Yeah, at least I was ahead of the curve. And then the International Channel actually aired uncut episodes in pure Japanese with no subtitles, so I would watch those, and I would watch like Cell Saga, and I would have no idea what was going
I
on.
remember seeing Boo and I was like,
I was watching Cell Saga or Cell Games, and it was like the first episode of Hercule, and they had like these really fruity guys with Hercule come out, and they would have like these pelvic thrusts, and they would play all this music, and I always thought it was so funny. And then when I watched the American version, they cut out a lot of the pelvic thrusts and accompanying sounds to that, and I was just like, man, Japanese have it good.
Right.
So where were you?
I don't know. We're just talking about
I
basketball.
shouldn't have pelvic thrusts. I'm
Yeah, I'm
sorry.
sorry. That's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. I don't know. Like I like to go onto the internet and just like type in Dragon Ball Z into Google search engines. You get a lot of weird. Who curse? Right? Who curse?
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. Dragon Ball Z is fucking awesome, right? Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Yeah. All right.
We're living up on Tsunami that we can be uncut.
Oh fuck yeah. We're at 7 o'clock, so yeah. So like you type in weird shit in there, and like I liked it when the new movie came out because there was all these crazy fast food promotions in Japan. I don't know if anybody saw the Burger King promotion over there. When you got your fries, it had like Goku's face on the fry container. See, if I have a PowerPoint, I'll have awesome pictures for it. Just use your imagination. And it showed his face. Yes, and he was Super Saiyan, and just going with the fries with the hair.
In Super Saiyan hair?
Yes, he's
That is great marketing. Is there one thing I want to think of when I'm eating food? It's that there's hair in it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I guess it's Dunkin' Donuts. I guess they're the predominant chain over there. They released like a whole bunch of like donut holes or whatever, but they put them in packs of 7 and then put little stars on them, so they were all like the 7 Dragon Balls.
Why did they not make that Galactic Donuts? That sells
I
itself.
don't know either. And then they had a bunch of like crazy energy drinks that were like you can go Super Saiyan 2, and it was like a Monster, whatever the Japanese.
Well, here we had senzu bean drinks.
Well, we did have sensu bean drinks too, but theirs were
I don't
much
think
more
I ever
awesome.
tried one.
Because it was like, you looked at it on one side of the can, it was just like Goku standing there, or Master Roshi standing there, and then when you flipped it over to the other side of the can, they had gone Super Saiyan and all their clothes were ripped off, and you're like, ah.
Dude, there was one San Diego Comic-Con where they launched the Naruto energy drink, and I went to the party that they were launching it at, and they had all these drinks, and basically every drink had to have this really terrible, it was an apple-flavored Naruto drink.
Oh.
And it sucked. There was maybe 10 people there, and so I kept ordering like apple teenies or whatever with this terrible Naruto brand. And by the end of the night, we were basically just going outside with like tons of these cans, and we would just go to random strangers, and we would just look at them and go, "Believe it!" And we would chunk it. And they thought we were so insane, and the truth is we weren't insane, we were just drunk. But
See, the big yeah.
Exactly.
Like this year, I guess Sega at Comic-Con had like a big thing there, and they had $5 martinis in this thing, and it's the crazy thing about Comic-Con is like all the bars open at 6 a.m. So like we go and we were like, I want a breakfast burrito and like 5 shots of tequila at 6 in the morning. And like that's what the whole city's doing. And the Sega Lounge, they have chili dog flavored martinis. Yeah. It was
But they
weird.
were only $5.
But they were only $5, so everybody was hammered and the rest felt like chili. And they put like little Vienna sausages in there instead. Instead of an olive, yeah, and they put like chili sauce around.
Welcome to the Dragon Ball panel.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but the good thing about Comic-Con is no matter what party you go into, there's probably a celebrity. Like Simon Pegg came in.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Oh.
Did you get your scouter at Comic-Con?
No, I got it here actually at a booth next.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. Because at Comic-Con, those were really hard to get. Like every day, there was 100 people in line for those things.
This one was like, I think something cheaper, but it was like $20.
No, that's not bad.
See, I gotta go to Costco for my scouters because I frequently break them. When I look at someone's power level, and I just can never believe it.
This is power level. It's overnight.
Yeah, I'll just break it because I have no self-control.
Yeah, well, that's right. Just accidentally push it too hard. You're like, oops.
It's
That's
like,
your brain.
fuck it, I'm Prince, I'm royalty, I can afford a billion of these. Exactly.
Yeah.
Iris?
You want to?
You want me to say something?
Well, let's just talk about Dragon Ball, man. So
No, we were just actually normal members of the audience, and then they called us up to.
Yeah. The real people who were supposed to run this didn't show up, so.
Yeah, we just kind of jumped up here.
Yeah, we kind of
because,
just
like,
jumped up here.
after a battle.
Yeah, I did.
Both of us did actually.
Yeah.
So how's Aiken IQ?
I haven't seen IQ in a while.
IQ lives in San Diego right now. We just moved there. He seems same as always.
Ake's doing good. He works at
We
Panini.
saw him about a month ago.
Oh, I saw him out in San Diego.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I saw him about a month ago.
Huh?
Where's Aiken?
Okay, I'll give you a back history on what happened to Score if you don't know. Score was bought out by this Italian company called Panini. All they really wanted was the football licenses and all that stuff. So they bought that out. Ake went on to go work on the NBA license. The rest of us left. So he's still over there.
Left. That's a very nice way of
being
putting it.
laid off. But yeah, he's still there. He works over in like the baseball and basketball and whatnot. He writes statistics on the back of cards. He loves it.
Ake was the game designer on the second Dragon Ball Z game I
Yeah.
scored.
Yeah. Well, he's Asian. He likes numbers and statistics.
Hey, can we like not be so racist on this family?
Oh.
Do you see a lot of the old DBZ national and regional winners in the retro field?
We see the national champion all the time.
Yeah. We see a fair amount of the old community and stuff on there.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so actually the funny story is the way I got my job at Score Entertainment and eventually Funimation was I played the Dragon Ball Z card game and I randomly won the national championship, so I became like the national champion.
But you made the game.
I didn't make the game, no. I eventually play tested for it, like my very first action. No. My very first action with the Dragon Ball Z game was to write the press release saying we weren't making anymore. That was the very first thing I got to do for the Dragon Ball Z game. It was also the very last thing I got to do for the Dragon Ball Z game. I worked on the Bleach game and the Inuyasha game, but I never played competitively in those. But yes, I was the national champion, and for a while I put it on my resume because I was just like, well, yeah, it's like I came out of college. What can I say? I worked at GameStop, I joined the fraternity. Oh, and I'm a national champion card player.
Like, oh, poker?
Yeah, so I would actually imply that without saying it. I would often be like in bars and be like, they'd be watching poker on TV and be like, you know, I'm actually a national champion card player.
People in like Yu-Gi-Oh, they put that on their resume. Like,
Well, it's no longer on my resume, but back then when I was full of myself, I was like, yeah, this really makes me the shit right here. But so that was the end of that. Let's get back to the show.
Let's talk about some
One
Dragon
more
Ball.
question. Are you going to do a retro tournament this weekend?
Yeah, we have a big one. This is our third year doing tournaments here.
I heard about it last year.
Yeah, we're gonna have one tomorrow.
You are doing it.
Yeah, at noon for championship.
Where's the info for that, so that if some of us want to jump in?
We can meet up with you later and we'll give you all that information, but it's going to be tomorrow morning.
It's at noon
do you
tomorrow.
actually join in?
No, like
We are actually, the way we do our events now with like Dragon Ball Z is that we're all fans now.
Yeah.
There's no company making a profit off this. Funimation doesn't see a profit. Score isn't around to see a profit. So we just really, really love Dragon Ball Z. Even we don't see a profit.
yeah.
We just want people to play and have fun. So we say, you know, people can print off their cards online and play with them, and we'll teach you how to do it because we just want you to have fun. We want to have fun ourselves. We don't want it to be, you know, like this really competitive environment because after all, we're all just fans. We're fans of Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball Z is a fun game to play. Dragon Ball Z is a fun show to watch.
Yeah. So if you want to play or whatever, you know, just show up, print some cards off the internet. Most of the guys down there have like 7 decks with them, so just show up with
I
them.
didn't bring mine.
So you have some.
So Garrett, who's your favorite character?
My favorite character.
I'm sure it's the same as mine.
Oh, I like Andrew 20.
Andrew 20 is
20
obviously
awesome.
my favorite character too.
You don't like Andrew 20? Who do you like?
Piccolo.
Piccolo. Anybody else like Piccolo? You have a lot of Piccolo fans in here?
Hello.
Piccolo.
Yeah.
You know, there's a song about how much Gohan loves Piccolo.
Yeah.
So we get back to that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
They
Well,
always
shoot,
found weird,
like,
how like Pickle went from like being one of the strongest like villains to also gonna be like one of the weakest.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are
That still this thing first now. It's like, he went from being like super strong to being like, yeah, I can't, I'll shoot.
And
Yeah.
like, anyway.
Piccolo
shows
is
up, he
interesting
takes-
because he actually becomes the most powerful character in the series at 2 points. And one of them is in the Android saga, you know, after he fuses with Kami. After that, you know, Krillin brings up a good point as to what do they call Piccolo, because he's like, should I call you Kamikolo? The original form of Piccolo and Kami, like that character, is actually never given a name. They reference him a little bit, but they never call him by name. And then when he fuses, he just goes, no, call me Piccolo. But it's interesting that you never really get a lot of information about that original character, because that character's power level would have been basically as strong as Piccolo and Kami was during Cell Saga, and he gave that up to try to be the guardian of Earth, to something around the realm of like, I think it was like 2600 is what they were registering his power level at.
Something like that. You never know what the power levels of DBZ.
Yeah, the power levels are a little wonky. Yeah, and after a while they just kind of abandon it, and then when Babidi shows up, they come up with a new power level scheme where he measures it maybe like 2 or 3 times, and then they knock that shit off really quickly, and then they just basically go to Korin, and Korin is just like, yeah, he's more powerful. No, he's not more powerful than you. And that's basically their way of keeping track of power. But again, Piccolo is just such an interesting character.
An official power level?
Yeah, like official one.
Yes, it's in Japan. They have something that's called a Daijinchu, and they have official power ratings. They are official, but I think they're kind of wonky because they actually say stuff like Goku and Vegeta would get to like 12 and 15 million in the Saiyan Saga, and that's kind of weird because they make a big deal about Frieza reaching 1 million in the Frieza Saga. In fact, the whole episode, even in Japan, said like power level 1 million fighting the Impossible Beast. So I've always taken the power levels with kind of a big grain of salt.
It's just basically pointless.
It's
for
more of
people
a
to
plot
argue
device.
over.
It's
Yeah,
more,
it's a
yeah, it's an
plot
arbitrary number used as more of a plot device.
It's pretty smart.
You talk about favorite characters, and there's like hella misinformation in like the Dragon Ball Z community all the time. And I heard a rumor, and you guys seem like you know a lot, and about Akira Toriyama not liking characters. Like I heard he hated Vegeta, but had to keep him in because he kept being #1
Popular.
fan.
Yeah.
The
No.
first Super Saiyan would be Bardock.
Would be, yeah. Well,
Well, I mean,
technically.
as far as the series
Yeah.
goes, so like he was supposed to be Super Saiyan 4 Goku.
Well-
Talking like an interview or something, right?
It gets kind of rough because you have to start incorporating the movies and the specials, and it's very hard to put the movies and specials into
Yeah.
continuity.
Like, I don't know if anybody's watched like the special about Bardock, where you know the thing where like they always show it in the episode or whatever. Even when they did Kai, it was like the opening of the Kai series where Bardock's like stopping Frieza or whatever. So one of the Shonen Jump specials, they just like opened up with that, and Bardock, like, oh my gosh, Bardock's being
It was
destroyed.
popular during that year to be shot with time bullets.
Yeah, so-
Batman got shot with time bullets,
Yeah.
and then like Bardock was like, oh, time bullets,
So,
that's a great
so
idea.
Bardock wakes up and he's like, I'm not dead. He's on like a rural planet. and
He's on planet Vegeta before it becomes planet
Okay, and it's
Vegeta.
inhabited with these weird alien creatures. And there's like Frieza's like great-great-grandfather or something. Chill shows up there, and he's killing all these people or whatever, and he's taking their technology. And the technology that these primitive people have is the regeneration chambers, which that's where they got like the regeneration chambers that they used on
Planet Namek and
Planet
Frieza's
Namek and
ship.
Frieza, and where Vegeta and Goku and all those guys go. And then Bardock is like, he's upset because all these indigenous people are getting killed. He goes Super Saiyan, he kicks the crap out of Lord Chill. And then Lord Chill's like, oh my gosh, these Saiyans, they're too strong. They're gonna grow up to be too strong. And that's why Frieza is like, I gotta blow up planet Vegeta for no reason, even though I've enslaved all their people and they're like my greatest warriors. But I gotta blow them up because somebody somewhere told me that one day they will destroy me. And it's because I did this weird time jump thing for no reason. That's cool. I mean, it makes it cool, like 40-minute episode.
Yeah, before that, I think it was implied that Broly was indeed a legendary
before
Super
that, yeah.
Saiyan.
The movies are so weird because like they fight Hitler in one of the movies.
Whoa. Okay.
You've never seen that one?
No, I never seen that. Where's that?
Fusion Reborn. No takes. Will fight Hitler.
Or like the.
Well, okay. They have this movie where like this guy's doing laundry in hell and he's like washing all the evil out of people's clothes or something like
He
that.
washes Hitler boxers.
Oh, okay, you just have to wait. You just have to wait. You have to wait. So he's washing like all these clothes and he's washing the evil out of them. He's just he looks like the devil or whatever. He's got music on. He's not paying attention, and the washing.
He's just one of the Oni.
Yeah, and the washing machine overflows, and that causes all the great villains in Dragon Ball Z history to escape from hell. So Frieza escapes.
Bojack escapes.
Bojack escapes, Cell escapes, all the Ginyu Force, Nappa, and then Hitler.
Yes.
And he comes back as a
No,
zombie.
he's not called Hitler.
No,
He's
not
always
called-
called the Dictator.
The dictator, but we all know who he's supposed to be.
Okay, so
He's either Charlie Chaplin or Hitler.
So, and he's pretty powerful. Like Trunks and Gotenks have to fuse with Gotenks to defeat him. He's got a tank and he just keeps shooting him. He's like, hey, hey, hey.
I'm not going to lie, but it's actually a fanfiction out there that had Goku actually fight Hitler.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, for real.
It doesn't surprise me at all. It does not surprise me.
If Super Saiyans actually existed.
I don't know. So that's the movie where they fight Janemba. Yeah, where they fuse him to a little fat dude.
It's one of the few movies where you actually see Hercule kick ass.
That's true,
Hercule
yeah.
just starts fighting random zombies. And he's just like, he even says, oh man, finally, enemies that I can beat up.
And he goes and beats up some Nazi zombies. I wonder where Call of Duty got that idea. What if they're Dragon Ball guys?
I don't know. It's impossible. They have a bunch of random shit. Like, they have Romeo and Juliet come back for no reason.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a bunch of weird, like the Dragon Ball movies are really strange.
They're just like, they're Japanese, but, you know, it's going to be weird, but not to an extreme like where it doesn't make any sense. Even to
No, it doesn't make any
It doesn't make
sense.
any sense.
Yeah. So we have to believe that, like, Dragon Ball World had a Hitler at one point.
Like, I can't really see that in Dragon Ball, like an actual Hitler being in that universe.
Well, in Dragon Ball, they did have General Blue, who was textbook Aryan, and then he like had this really weird hinted at pedophile thing that actually got very edited out of American television.
Yeah.
Like he was
Okay,
like,
we could show a video. I love Piccolo.
I love Mr. Piccolo.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's just respect. Like, that's just straight up respect. Yeah, they changed General Blue to have a little brother named Sammy. So when he went to Penguin Village, there was like a little kid there. I don't remember his name, and so
So it's that Dr. Slump thing.
yeah, the Dr. Slump.
Yeah.
So they edited it in America, where when he was hugging and loving on this kid, he was just like, "Oh, you're Sammy, my little brother. I love you. I love you. Oh, I miss you, Sammy." But yeah, in Japanese, he was straight up rapist.
He was the pedo bear. Not that he
Yes.
was actually.
He was,
the precursor to pedo bear.
yeah, he was straight up, like, his weakness was like Bulma showing up and showing her boobs. Like, like that's why I love Dragon Ball, because Dragon Ball would have a lot of random stuff like that, and there's actually been more than one enemy that has been defeated just because Bulma shows up and shows her boobs.
Yeah.
Not like I'm Dragon Ball, right?
Yeah. Yamcha is such a joke. Fuck Yamcha. Here's a quick fact. Puar has won more tournament matches in the whole Dragon Ball series than Yamcha has. Because Puar won one of the Baba tournament matches with the little Indian kid. What was his name, Gora or Upa?
Oopa.
Upa.
I think it's Oopa.
Yes, he actually beat like the Dracula thing because they stood and made a cross. And he beat the Dracula thing. Whereas the Dracula thing, like, fucked the shit out of Yamcha. Yamcha, like, went in there and was just like, "Hey, Goku, sit this one out. I've got this. I'm gonna fuck the shit out of this Twilight motherfucker." And yeah, he got his butt kicked. He's never won a single round in the Tenkaichi Budokai. Even in the movies where, like the BoJack movie, where pretty much everyone just goes to like the BoJack world, and they even have this random sumo wrestler make it into BoJack world where he just gets killed by one of the BoJack guys. Yamcha is still just like, yeah, whatever, we're just gonna go take a nap over here, and someone just kicks him into the water. So Puar has won more canon and even non-canon tournament matches than Yamcha. So I guess Puar would be a better fighter.
He'd be number 9 of the 10 in the rankings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to go away from the Hitler topic, but what's your favorite Frieza form?
He's a form.
All right, thanks for letting us know.
I'm not leaving.
I like the one where he has like the big horns. That was pretty cool.
When he kills Krillin?
Yeah, when he kills Krillin, that was pretty cool. Then the one where he looks like an alien from Aliens. That was pretty gnarly too.
See, I only really consider two Frieza forms, his original and his final. I like his original because he never really fights in his original.
He does this a lot.
Yeah, he just kind of, it's just kind of very implied about how strong he is and how powerful he is. And I just like that implication. And then you get to the final form and he actually is that powerful and he's deserving of his reputation, at least up until that point. I guess I'd say his original, just because his original is just like, fuck it, I'm strong.
I don't even have to get out of my chair.
I don't have to get out of my chair.
I don't have to walk anywhere.
Like, I'm just going to Professor X it up and just go around this. And yeah, and everyone's just so afraid of him, and then eventually he proves why. He is a very deadly and ruthless guy. And Frieza is actually one of my favorite villains. If I didn't like Android 20 so much, I'd be all about Frieza.
So you work for Funimation. Did they have any statistics like how much animation was recycled in the Frieza saga? Like how many minutes of animation?
Who knows?
See, here's the thing with businesses: they would only collect data that would make them more money, be more profitable.
Yeah.
So like coming up with statistics like that, they really wouldn't. Sometimes when they would have trivia contests, they would just come to me and they'd be like, "Josh, you know a bunch of trivia shit. Just give us some Dragon Ball Z trivia questions." And I always had one that stumped everybody, so I'd give them that one. I'll go ahead and ask you this question. Do you think you're a Dragon Ball master? Think you can answer my question?
I'll try.
All right, I'll open it up to other people if you don't. In the Android saga, who is the first Z fighter to be defeated by the androids?
Specials don't count.
Specials don't count, like regular continuity. Regular continuity, who is the first Z fighter to be defeated by the androids?
Vegeta.
No.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
Yamcha?
No, sir. Yes, sir.
Bulma or Yajirobe?
Yajirobe, that is correct. Yajirobe drops off the senzu beans, and then he's like, F this noise, I don't want to fight any androids. So he drives his car out, and that's how they know the androids are there, because as he's driving away on his flying car, the androids just blow him up the bucket, and Gohan has to go rescue him, and everyone's just like, well, let's just run around the city like idiots and try to find these androids.
That's a joke.
Then it's Yamcha.
Right, but Yamcha, they had it at the same time. You're right.
Yeah.
The Yamcha just happened before. I got you.
It did.
If Yamcha ever wondered why
Yamcha's just so easy.
instead of
Oh, you should. This is an argument. This is an argument that's commonly had. It's about who's the best swords master in Dragon Ball Z. Who do you think's the best guy with a sword in Dragon Ball Z?
Hands down, Yajirobe. Fuck anyone who says Trunks. Hands down, it's Yajirobe.
You've got this argument down. So
He cut off Vegeta's tail.
He cut off Vegeta's
yeah, see, there you
tail.
go.
Like
In Dragon Ball, he
when
cut
Vegeta
off.
was the shit. When Vegeta was the shit. Like who saved the day? Yajirobe comes out with a sword. When Goku was getting the shit knocked out of him by one of Piccolo's kids, like Drum or Symbol, I think it was.
Yeah.
He was just like, well, fuck this, I'm gonna kill you and eat you.
Yeah.
That is terrifying. He just swords it up and eats the guy. So everyone is just like, oh man, Tappy and Trunks, oh, those are supposed to be great sword fighters in Z. Not really, not at all. It's Yajirobe. It's like Trunks was a freaking Super Saiyan, and he like cuts up Frieza and King Cold, and he's just like, oh man, I guess that makes me a good swordsman because I'm such a powerful guy and I happen to have a sword.
Speaking of terrible arguments,
All right, let's go.
All right.
the worst argument I've had to listen to since we started playing this game 12 years ago,
All right.
and I hear it all the time. Goku versus Superman, who wins?
But that's
Have
like a
you guys not
Funimation
heard
marketing
that?
campaign.
But have
right
you not
now.
heard that? Have you
Yeah.
guys not heard that?
Yeah.
I would have to give it to Goku only because.
this is your panel.
Yeah. But Goku could easily destroy the planet. Superman, I don't have a good solution on how Superman could instantly destroy the planet. Whereas Goku could just.
Well, he could spin around
Yeah.
backwards.
Yeah.
He's
Turn back time.
He's turn back time.
You can't
Kill you as a baby.
You can't turn back.
One difference. And I saw this online too. It was Death Battle. I saw online. They made one good point. Goku will run out of energy some point. Superman has the sun. He'll never run out of
Hey,
energy.
they go up the moon.
Every time. He's going back to the
Goku
sun.
could blow the sun, and then he's like, oh, where should I go? Let me see if I can find some Nameks. I'll just go to New Namek,
Yeah.
which he does in Cell Saga. He just goes to New Namek and gets Dende. So he can easily, like, let's just pretend the Earth isn't happened by Superman, and Goku just didn't give a fuck. He would be like, boom, sun blown up. Bye, Superman. Time to New Namek it up. Yeah, and done. So yeah, like maybe Superman would survive, but he would just probably be like, well, fuck, now I'm in the middle of nowhere, now I'm just gonna fly at Superman speed someplace.
I don't know, it depends on which version of Superman. If it's new Superman, he's not even gonna fight Goku, he's just gonna walk around and be sad.
I don't know, maybe he'll go to Sears, like they'll fight at Sears.
Oh yeah, see,
Probably just
fight
like
Sears.
fly off of his base and just rotate around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Goku and Superman will fight at Sears, and they'll like fight near like really impressive craftsman tools.
That would be cool too,
That
yeah.
I would totally buy because
Everybody
they
will
could
have,
they
like,
could damage Superman and
Yeah.
Krypton.
And they would, and Sears would still replace them after they're broken.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then afterwards, if we wanted to recount the battle, we'd all go to IHOP.
Superman has a weakness while Goku doesn't really.
Well, Goku cares about people.
Yeah, but
Superman doesn't.
Well, I don't know. If you watch the new Superman movie, he blew up a lot of Metropolis.
Okay.
but if we're
This Goku was smart enough to go like, I don't want to fight here. I want to go to the desert.
Who? Like, we're not going to count, like, I could beat Superman if I had a freaking chunk of kryptonite.
Right.
That's not really anything worth talking about. But if we're talking about who can win in a straight up fight, I'm still going to give it to Goku, because Goku could still create, like, a lot of different energy attacks.
But I feel like Goku has the way that they built his character is sort of like this exponential growth character, which is very popular in Japanese anime and manga.
It's like the Shonen Power Creep.
Yeah, it's sort of like there's no end to his ability to get stronger. It's sort of like how in Bleach, Ichigo, he continued to build upon his powers, basically. But
Just keep reaching new form. It's just like,
reaching new forms.
oh shit, what should we do? Like, do we do Super Saiyan 4? Oh, let's make him Super Saiyan
Super
God.
Saiyan God.
God, that would make sense.
Yeah, and he would just become, Super Saiyan God, and but Superman is just, Superman. He's just an alien, another alien from some separate race that that doesn't really know. He's always just had the power. He's never really
That power hasn't
building.
grown.
Yeah, it's just.
Plus, Kryptonians, they can't fuse into like cool super.
That
Hero ever.
Let me just put the last word in the subject before I kill it, because like you said, it's a dumb subject. Goku, although Goku started out strong, he has earned his power, whereas Superman is kind of just had his power and he's just learned to use it better.
Right.
So if you take that, I would say still Goku, because he is arguably as strong as Superman. I think even stronger, but he has also earned his power, whereas Superman has just learned to use his power better. Yeah. So let's move on to something else. What's up? What's your question?
What's with the same tail thing? Like, at the beginning, it was like the biggest weakness, and then eventually they just pulled it off and did nothing, and
Because
they
it was
step on their backs and it
inconvenient
pops
to the
out.
plot.
It was hard to animate those tails, so you just remove them.
It really is.
I mean,
Grows back all of a sudden.
the reason why he had a tail was obviously because of the whole tie to the journey to the
He was
west.
supposed to be Monkey from that story. Yeah.
Which, was he also named Son Goku in that? I think he was also named Son
Yeah,
Goku
his
in
name's something
that.
like that.
And that was just a harken back to that, and I guess they kind of needed to give him a weakness, so they just gave it the tails. But then when the other Saiyans started showing up, they're just like, well, we can't just have Goku run up, just grab their ass. So even by the end of Dragon Ball, they show how Goku went all through all kinds of stupid training to train his tail. Raditz was weak, so he didn't build up his tail. But whereas Piccolo straight up grabbed Nappa's tail, and Nappa was just like, what the fuck you doing? Boom, and like conks him right in the head. And Vegeta says, like the tail is only a weakness if you don't work on it, if you don't build it up. So because obviously Goku wasn't aware of his Saiyan heritage and really wasn't too aware of his weaknesses, he had no knowledge about his tail until he worked on it before the Tenkaichi Budokai. smart warriors like Nappa and Vegeta, they worked on their tail, so they eliminated that weakness. So that weakness only existed just because Goku was kind of unaware of it.
Plus, that's how we know they're aliens.
Yeah.
Tails.
What are you talking about? They're aliens because of their tails. There's plenty of people from Earth that had tails.
Well, it's true. That's one thing I like about Dragon Ball. Yeah. A lot of tails at Gencon.
Oh, you're a girl.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but like Dragon Ball always tripped me out because they would show like random shots of the scenery or whatever, and it'd be like farmer, cat man, dog man.
Yeah, what's the reason behind that? I never get that. Like, it's humans, and just, I know it's aliens.
It was for
Like,
children.
There's
It's
a
a
dinosaur
children's
as
show.
well, like.
Man
Yeah.
and animal can finally live in harmony.
That's true.
I mean, the king is like a dog, and he's still the king. He's the king in Piccolo Saga because he's accosted by him, and then even back into Cell games, it's still the same guy who's the king, which is like this dog, and the dog even says, "Oh, look at Gohan. Oh, I remember when I was in trouble by Piccolo, and this kid that looked like Gohan kind of came and saved me for no reason."
They should make like a spin-off movie about B where he turns into like one of those dog people. That'd be fucking- him and Boo, like they form a buddy cop show together.
Now, B is an interesting character because they show him a bunch like in the GT closings, but he's never actually in GT. So it's kind
That's
of
weird,
implied that, you know, he's a dog and he's only got so much.
I know. I like the way he looks in Battle of the Gods though. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we did met the voice actor to Goku, like last year.
Sean Schimmel. Always
Yeah,
he's a cool guy.
he was just a real cool guy, and what we asked him to do, everyone was asking him to do the little Super Saiyan dance, just to like, you know, fuse together. He actually did it.
That's
That's
super
cool.
cool.
I'm gonna ask you guys, for big fans you basically are of like DBZ, will you do that? Will you do that? Will you do that?
He is taller than me, so our fusion wouldn't work.
Yeah, we'd be short fat.
What was your past turn into?
We
What is it? Something like you do this thing. And...
You see, you just don't know it.
Nope.
Don't make excuses.
all right.
Well, if anybody knows it, they're welcome to come up here and demonstrate.
Well, I know it. I know it. Can you put your power level at the same as mine?
Try.
We lower it a little bit.
All right, ready? All right. Fusion. Ha!
We're back.
Does anyone know the name of the fat fusion of Goku and Vegeta?
Goku, oh, Goku and Vegeta.
Of Goku and Vegeta?
Hey, there's Dragon Ball characters outside.
Come on in. Look. Oh my gosh, it's the not fat version we're talking about. It's actually Biku. Biku is the official name of the fat fusion of Goku and Vegeta that you see in Fusion of Reborn.
I think it's funny that they made the fat one with starting with Vegeta name and the slimmer one.
Someone who was it that said that? It's
Well, there's still
Yama hates
Vegito, but then they made Gogeta in GT, and I assume they just did that because they were like, well, shit, we pretty much have to do the same thing, but we can't do the same things, just name them something else. That was always my assumption.
Plus, it's another action figure you can sell.
Yeah. It's like, well, who wants another Vegito? Vegito, that's old news. Whatever, you can barely hit Majin Buu.
Everybody looks fat and fat fusion forms.
Yeah, fat fusion form's the way to go.
Anybody have any more questions? They want to talk about their favorite moment from the show or something?
I'll talk about my favorite moment of the show.
I'll bet you will.
My favorite moment of the show was actually when everyone was getting killed by Majin Buu, and you have Majin Vegeta standing there, and he's talking to Piccolo and Kid Trunks, and he just goes to Kid Trunks. He's just like, "Son, I don't think I ever hugged you," and they hug for the first time, and then he just knocks the fuck out of Trunks, and then he hands him to Piccolo to get him out of there because he knows he's going to sacrifice himself for the big battle, and he goes to Piccolo and he says, "Piccolo, my greatest wish has always been to fight Kakarot on equal terms. Can I do that?" And Piccolo straight up tells him, "Goku's a great guy. Goku's going to heaven. You're a douche. You're going to hell." And Vegeta is just like, well, shit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he goes off and he does the exact same thing Chaozu does to Nappa in the Saiyan Saga, but except Vegeta's a hero for doing it. So. That's my favorite moment.
I have like my favorite moments like the entire episode. I just like Boss Rabbit from Dragon Ball. He makes all the women dress like Playboy bunnies. So I'm down with that.
Yeah, they never got him off the moon, and then they blew it up like 3 different times.
I know.
If you play, I think the only thing that references that is if you play Attack of the Saiyans. Like he'll say something like, "Oh, I got off the moon, become Boss Rabbit." Of course I did. and you fight him again, and then you get an item that can turn enemies into carrots for some reason.
I was always really upset because they made one Boss Rabbit action figure, and he's just like getting hit in the head. He's like, so I have that on my desk, really proud. I'm just like, I wish it was awesome. You're just hitting somebody with a staff, turning him into a carrot. No.
I know this is unrelated, like no, but what did everyone think about the live action movie? I know it's hard.
Are we talking about Dragon Ball Evolution? Okay.
The Chinese one.
All right.
Really
Wait,
bad.
I'm sorry, I can't be in the room.
All right, here's what happened with Dragon Ball Evolution. We didn't want to pay to see the movie, so we may or may not have downloaded it because we were just like, well, no one should be paid for this because we knew, we instinctively knew it was going to be terrible.
Did you burn your computer after?
Because you knew the movie was going to be bad when it released in China a month before it came out here. So like the day it released in China, it was all big. That's well, we're going to watch this.
Yeah, so we started watching it, and of course, obviously we were drinking a lot. we drank so much during that movie, we actually paused the movie, and for the sake of this panel, I'm going to say we had a designated driver to drive us to the liquor store.
We walked to the liquor store.
Yes, we walked to the liquor store and got more liquor and miraculously made it back and finished the movie. And then we were just like, let's videotape our responses to this movie.
That's because when we're drunk, videotape anything.
Yeah,
awesome.
so we got really, so we were already pretty inebriated, and we just like made this video where we talk about how awful the movie is, and how terrible it is, and how it has nothing to do with Dragon Ball. We eventually never released it just because it's so vulgar and we're just so drunk in it. It was just like a lot of like, this good. He's like Peter Parker. Why is he being bullied? And shit like that. And like this guy was trying to moderate it and proctor it, and he was just like asking me questions, and I'd frequently just be like, here's my answer to your question.
We talked about setting up a charity for Ernie Hudson so he wouldn't have to do like movies like that anymore.
Because America, we need to treat our Ghostbusters better than that.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, like I actually was like go on for like 5 minutes advocating sending Ernie Hudson like $1 through PayPal because that he was a Ghostbuster, that made him an American hero, and that he should not have to do bullshit movies like that. Like years later, I ran into James Marsters, who played Piccolo.
Spike on Buffy.
Yeah. And I was at a panel, I raised my hand and I asked him like about playing Piccolo in the movie. And it was funny because as he was talking, it was obvious he knew about Dragon Ball Z because he was talking about like the Mafuba and all this other stuff. And I was just like, wow, this guy knows shit. And like, yeah, so at the end he was just like, well, I knew the movie was bad, the movie was what it was, but you know, whatever. Yeah. And I mean, honestly, if someone came to me and gave me a script and was just like, here, do you want to be in a Dragon Ball movie? It's pretty terrible, but you can be in it and we'll pay you. I'd probably still be like, alright, sure.
And by the age that they had set him up to be, shouldn't he already had like Gohan by then? Because wasn't he supposed to be at least like 16, 18?
I believe he was definitely 18 by the time he had Gohan. I don't know his exact age, but I know.
He was definitely 18 whenever he arrived at.
I want to say he was 18 when he was married.
No,
I thought he proposed to her at 15 during the
like
time.
6.
Well, he was betrothed, even though he thought it was a kind of food.
Yeah.
Did they got anything right, like in that movie?
Yeah, but playing
Because
this,
Piccolo
like,
was
big
evil.
game
and
here,
it was kind of like
Piccolo was
I could
you know,
just all producing with me.
Yeah.
It's like let it play itself.
Also a bad movie.
They get another bad movie.
Yeah. Well, anybody see the Chinese one? that
I
I
have
made
not actually.
like 1991. It's called Dragon Ball: The Mystical Adventure. Makes Dragon Ball Evolution look kind of good.
Yeah.
Wasn't there one with like Chowder and Fat in it? Or, no, wait, you put Master
It
Roshi.
was Master Roshi.
Aw, fuck. That poor guy.
I know.
America, we should set up a PayPal account for Chow Yun
Yeah,
Fat.
see, this we just have PayPal.
Anyone
Anybody
who-
involved in that movie?
Anyone who is in like martial law should not be worse.
Did anybody watch the K Productions
Kickstarter.
thing?
What?
K8K, it's over in Britain. They did a 5-minute small film of the Saiyan saga. It's on YouTube now.
It's like a fan thing, or?
Well, kind of. They got a bunch of funding for it, so it turned out better than Evolution.
Well, that sounds
It's
Well,
like,
that's not hard.
it's-
Like,
yeah,
way to
but-
set the bar high.
it's just like, it's like 5 minutes of just watching the Saiyan saga. You see the opening scene when Goku and Piccolo fight Raditz, the transmission to Vegeta and Nappa on the other planet. They come in, they fight. He does the over 9,000 joke, breaks his thing.
That's cool.
I actually haven't seen that. The only fan stuff I saw was the Dragon Ball Z abridged, and I kind of thought that was garbage.
Well, this was a live action thing. It turned out the Piccolo looks awesome. Like he looks like he would in the cartoon.
Oh, that's
He was
cool.
great.
You got my hopes up.
Just
I
check
don't
it out.
wanna
It's just
disappoint myself.
K8K Productions. It's a 5-minute short film.
All right, I think we're at pretty much the end of our time.
Before you go, I was gonna ask, like, what is a
Time bullet.
Yes.
Okay. There's this thing, this was a couple years ago in comic books, like time bullets were all a thing. So like they did this big story arc where,
The main character dies.
well like Batman got killed. He
Batman
didn't
got
get killed.
shot by Darkseid.
Isn't it also from like a Tenacious D song or something too?
That's mind bullets.
Oh, mind bullets. My
That's
bad.
telekinesis.
Telekinesis.
Yeah.
Might as well be the same.
But yeah, basically it's just they get shot with something, and instead of killing them, it just miraculously sends them back in time, and then they'll eventually show up in the regular time. If you're Batman. Otherwise, if you're Bardock, you'll just live as a Super Saiyan. And even though you spent your entire life conquering planets, you I guess decide not to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. After you become the most powerful person.
Yeah.
Oh no. But I guess during that time, that was around. That would be. They would still have a lot of the Kais around because the Kais fought Majin Buu.
Yeah.
Although I'm pretty sure that occurred a lot earlier.
I don't even, the Kais are just insane.
Yeah, the Kais are dumb. The Kais always talk about being great fighters, but then you never really see the Kais do anything.
Well, Grand Kai says that he's got like after Goku wins that fight against Python, he says he's got 100. Well, the
Grand Kai says a lot, but he doesn't do a lot.
Well, he says that they got about 100 years to think of something new to teach these kids, but they know everything I can't. Like, there's nothing else I can do.
Like it's kind of implied that Grand Kai was full of shit.
Right.
When he said that, like even Grand Kai, like when he was watching Python and Goku, which did not occur in the manga. In the manga, Grand Kai is actually mentioned, but he never appears. So that Grand Kai that appears in the anime, I think he might have been full of shit.
Right. I think he was like supposed to be a new Master Roshi.
Yeah. They never expand on him, and then they go right into Supreme Kai, who everyone else kind of regards as like this great fighter, even though you don't really ever see him fight.
He's a bit of a pansy.
And then he fuses with his manservant for some reason. And yeah, like I kind of wish you would get to see how powerful he is. Because there's always like these flashbacks that talk about how powerful the Kais were and how they fought Majin Buu. But you never really see a Kai in action,
Right.
which is one of the great letdowns of the series.
It's like we're gonna tell you but not show you.
Exactly. But like with Frieza,
He was
the
actually beating
implications
Kid
were a
Buu.
lot better than they did do with the Kais. Just because they never make good on them, and then when you have a joke like the Grand Kai show up, he basically acts like Hercule. Like Grand Kai is pretty much a Hercule, or Mr. Satan, to be honest.
I was just going to touch on that. They actually did imply that, I don't know which East
South,
or
I
what,
think.
was it South Supreme Kai? He was actually beating Kid Buu, and that's when Kid Buu had to absorb him.
You do see that battle between the ancient Kais, the Supreme South Kai, Supreme North Kai, Supreme West Kai, Supreme East Kai. Those are the only Kais that it kind of makes good on. But all the current Kais, like even Grand Kai or King Kai, I believe he's North Kai.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's North Kai.
North Kai.
Can't use your mastery.
Yeah. Even the North Kai, you never see him fight or battle, and he kind of seems like a coward, even though he does teach Goku techniques like the Kaioken. And then he does train the other sea fighters who they actually do a decent job of implying they're powerful, but you really only get to see that in the non-canon episodes where they fight like in U-Force. And then they kind of just dick around during the other sagas,
Well,
where they're just kind of more of a distraction than anything else.
To be fair to King Kai, he kind of flat out states it right himself that he's weaker than Nappa.
Yeah, like I would believe that.
Alright, well, on that note, guys, sorry, we're out of time.
Thanks, guys.
Aw.
Wouldn't that basically imply that Supreme
If you're gonna be around tomorrow, stop by our tournament. Check out all the awesomeness.
technically, it's hard to say. It's still kind of interesting to think about. Yeah.
We also have our fantasy football panel.
I mean, to be fair,
Thank you, guys.
Super Saiyan
Hope to
3
see you all
Goku
in
was beating the crap out of Fapu, and Kid Buu, even though Kid Buu was like half as strong as Fapu. So.
Is there more Dragon Ball Z stuff going on?
Oh, we have a tournament tomorrow.
Which games?
The old score entertainment game.
I cut my hand somehow, like while I was up there.
It's been out of print for like 10 years.
Is that the
I'm just gonna wash it off real quick.
Yeah.
I think is that the one with GT on the front of it, or is it different?
There's GT stuff in it, like